This, I could live in here. We're gonna do this interview though.
I never walk with my shoes on.
It's freeing.
Really is. Like, I always walk in my office like, why are you not wearing shoes? I'm like, it's my office and you can't see my feet from behind the desk, so.
I mean, yeah, whatever. Do what you want.
There we go.
Oh, that's a problem. Like that would have been a
Yeah, it's like my knees are like
uncomfortable situation.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, right whenever you.
Sweet. So what's your name?
My name is Theo IV.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 27 as of last June.
Okay.
I know, I feel freaking old.
That's not old at all.
That's what people always tell me, but anyway.
Okay, so who are you on a soul level?
Am I on a soul level? I usually just... First thing that came to mind was just like, I'm just Theo.
So what does that mean?
Well, so my full name is Theodore Adolphus Adams IV. So my dad was the third, and his dad was the second, and his dad was Theo I, the legend, who I never knew. But when you have like all that legacy stuff, I don't know, it kind of makes you want to try to seek your individuality and try to make your own thing. Because, well, if you think about it, from like I do a lot of stuff with film and storytelling and all that stuff, and it's usually beginning, middle, and end. That's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, I guess, would be a new beginning. So. When I was in Japan, I would go to these Shinto shrines, and I remember I would always ask my ancestors to watch over me, and for what I like to say is strength and prosperity to deal with what's coming, because there's always something coming. So, in terms of your original question, I like to think on a soul level, I am trying to be myself, but guided by those who came before me, respectfully.
Okay. So is there anything that's happened in your past or anything that's going on right now that has really, I guess, molded you into Theo IV?
Well, I think it all started when I graduated college over in Santa Clara, California. I was dating a girl for almost 5 years, and we were each other's like first partners. And it came a time where it was like, I can either stay here in California, and I was working at the park at the time. Parks, not like a cool park ranger or something, but basically like a park janitor, which is totally fine. But
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people who I was working with there, like that was their final like job, like they were good. So my plan was to go back to Virginia instead of staying in California, to work with my dad on films and trying to make TV shows and all that stuff, and it's going. But my girlfriend at the time, she didn't want to go with me. So
She wanted to stay in Cali.
yeah, she wanted to stay in
Okay.
Cali. She had her own thing going, and I made the decision, kind of thinking like, well, after I made the decision, we went through all that stuff. I was like, I got to make all of this worth it as much as possible, which probably isn't the most healthy frame of thought, but it's been keeping me going.
Right.
Because that whole ordeal was a lot of suffering that I think it would be nice to make it all worth something.
Right, of course.
'Cause, yeah, I need to waste it.
Okay, so that's like your motivation to like.
That's a big motivation. That was like, that got me going. So, but in terms of what I'm doing now, which is I want to make and be in certain films, is when I was a kid growing up, a lot of my favorite films were kind of the like, I grew up watching like anime and like Toonami and stuff, but everyone has like, oh, what's your favorite film? Like, oh, it's The Shining. Oh, it's a Stanley Kubrick film or Tarantino film. No, it's silly, but my favorite film is The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Have you ever seen that movie?
Long time
Yeah,
ago.
it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Like, those are the kind of films which I think are good for people. People need that. There's so much suffering going on in the world all the time.
Yeah.
Like, around us, inside of us, and all that stuff. And I think it would be something worth living for if I could create art or be part of creating art that helps people feel the way that I felt when I was a kid, watching that stuff. And it was just eyes lit up, enjoying all the pageantry and explosions and just having fun.
Yeah.
I think that's my main motivation right now. Besides also getting the resources to support my family and change my life and all that stuff. But
Yeah, of course.
at the end of the day, I'm trying to entertain people, make people happy.
I think the Mummy roller coaster is in California because I've ridden it, and I'm trying to think if it's at
Yeah, Universal Studios.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've also, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've definitely. That's a cool ride too. Okay, so I want to give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me what means the most to you and what means the least, and we're gonna like go down the list and break them down. So the first category of things: love, sex, relationships. The next category: society, culture, politics. The next category: spirituality and or religion. So out of those things, what comes first for you?
What were they again? Pardon me.
Love, sex, relationships, society, culture, politics, spirituality, and or religion. And you can break these up however you want to. You don't have to keep them in the same groupings or anything.
Out of all those right now, it's probably love and relationships in terms of building connections and getting close to your family. And it doesn't necessarily need to be your blood family, but it can be the family that you choose.
Yes.
Which I didn't understand that I could do until recently. that being said, I do love my blood family and stuff, but there's power in being able to choose who you surround yourself with, because you know the old saying, "Birds of a feather flock together."
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I like drawing birds a lot and painting birds, but the people you surround yourself with influence the things you do in so many ways that you don't even notice. And if they if they have bad habits, you'll slowly start to develop those bad habits. If they have good habits, you'll pick those up too. If they are, if you're like from a career standpoint on like the same level as them, or if you're on a career standpoint, if on a career standpoint you're at a greater level than them, it might cause you to become lackadaisical and too relaxed. But if you surround yourself with people who are more talented than you and smarter than you, then it forces you to, through osmosis, get hungry and rise to the occasion. So
For sure.
that's one thing that I realized. And then also in terms of just making connections with people in general, a lot of people, I realized it now at 27, but a lot of people haven't realized it too many people haven't realized that you can pick those around you, and when you reach out to them and bring them into your circle or be a family member to them or be a brother or be a sister to them and truly mean it, it's hard to describe it's hard to describe it, but I just have so much gratitude for people who are on either end of that exchange, or because it's just a good feeling. It feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so love and relationships is at the top. So what is the second for you?
Well, certainly not politics. That stuff's crazy. And you never know what's true anymore. And
Right. Do you have any specific views politically, or do you just try to?
I try to stay. I
Stay
keep
aware of
I
it.
keep my head down.
Do you vote?
Oh yeah, I vote.
Okay.
Yeah, but I try to. Yeah, I voted, and it didn't work.
Basically.
it didn't work. But ever since then, I think the best way to change the world is to focus on changing yourself.
Yeah.
I know so many people that get furious and they rage and try to change other people around them, but they live in squalor. Like, they don't have any of their stuff together at all. They're in no place to be critiquing or telling other people what to do.
Right.
And I just think that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more worthwhile to change yourself.
Okay. So politics is last.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have society and culture and spirituality and or religion and sex left.
Spirituality, I guess. I don't really think about it much anymore.
You used to?
I mean, I was raised Catholic because half black, half Filipino, and especially amongst the Filipinos, they're very Roman Catholic. And then I went to school, which was like an Episcopal school, and I went through that phase that everyone goes through, and it's like, oh, religion's not real, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. But then, so after I went through that big breakup, I went into this really deep depression. Like, that was probably the most difficult part of my life so far. But I went to Japan because I was inspired by a music video from my favorite performer out there, and I decided I'm gonna go find that location in that video, and I went out and I did it. But when I was out there, I think the second time when I went back, I was given the opportunity to visit these temples and shrines, and even though I fully didn't understand what I was hearing or seeing or experiencing, compared to the churches that I've visited here or I've been part of here, I've never felt the sense of calm that I felt when I was at these shrines. And it, like, I guess when you're there and you feel that sense of calm, it gives you the opportunity. Like when I was there, I just said, "What's up?" "What up, Grandpa? What up, Nana? How you doing? I hope you're good. I'm trying out here. I'm trying. It's hard, but
Yeah.
I hope y'all are doing good. You know, keep watching my back."
Right.
So, but when I was out in churches in Virginia, and when I was in churches in California, it was just I think I may have just gotten into it too young, where it was just so routine to me.
Mm-hmm.
So just something to shake it up and something just to be different, and different way of thinking, and I'm learning more about it, like learning what I'm actually doing when I'm there. But it's just really, really cool. You go there, you walk up to the shrine, you toss a coin or two in, say what's up, or wish for the future. I assume. I still don't know exactly what to do, but I just do what feels natural, and it brings me peace.
That's beautiful.
But since then, I don't wake up every day and think about spirituality. I just focus on what I gotta focus on,
Okay.
try to do the right thing, stuff like that.
Cool. So that leaves society, culture, sex.
Sex is cool. I think I in my experience, it's always better when love is involved.
Yeah.
It's always better when love is involved. I've tried to do the whole other thing, and it's fun, I guess, but it just leaves it feeling empty. I think it might just be a brain chemistry thing, because some people are all about that, but yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Last person I was truly like with, and it was like a beautiful thing, was she's over in Tokyo right now. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. And it's probably my fault, but, well, it's always my fault. But we'll see in the future what happens.
Yeah. So thoughts on society and thoughts on culture.
Society. Like I said before, there's a lot of strife and struggles going on right now, and troubles in this world and all that stuff. It differs from culture to culture. It's kind of interesting, because one thing that I learned when I was in Japan is the difference between American philosophies and societal views versus Japan. Like in America, it's all about being yourself. It's a very individualistic frame of thinking, but in Japan, it's very about us. They have a word which is like I think it's wa, or They have it can be good and bad. Good in that when you're there, it feels like, and this is something I brought back, is when you're out and about in everything you do, you consider everyone around you and show as much respect as possible. For example, on a train, like in New York or DC, it'd just be the loudest thing possible, yakety yakety yak. Everyone's talking, everyone's making a ruckus sometimes, and in the metro and most of the metros in Japan I've been on, it's dead quiet. And if you're talking to anybody, you're whispering to them because you just don't want to bother everyone around you.
Wow.
And I just thought, like, wow, it's so freaking quiet. And then, everybody over there, what I noticed is they don't have trash cans in the city. Like public trash cans. Like I feel like I look out the window, it's just trees. But when you're walking in the city, there's a trash can like every block.
Yeah.
And they have certain reasons why they don't have that, but it's led to this tendency to, when they have trash, they put it in their pocket, which I thought was really interesting. And they take their recycling really seriously and all that stuff. It just shows a general general sense of being conscious of those around you and your actions, as opposed to just bumbling through life.
Right. For sure.
That being said, but it can be bad sometimes too, because as an American, like the whole reason I went over there was to be an actor. And if you're going to be an actor, it's in many cases it's about you, unless you're in like a ensemble performance sort of project. So it's something that I dance with multiple times, trying to figure out a balance. But when it comes to society, that's kind of what I think about. And then there's a part of American society that deals with politics and the internet, and those people are freaking crazy, and try not to think about it.
Okay. So now would usually be the time when I get someone to draw, but you've been drawing. So I want you to tell me what colors you think explain you in your life and like why, since you're using black, or maybe black is really important to you, or you can explain your process of painting and doing this.
Sure. Yeah, I actually do prefer monochromatic color schemes, whether it's black or white or like one main color. I like painting in red a lot. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can use red in these sorts of things too, because I made this discovery recently, which is when I was studying, because I do a bunch of different types of painting. My favorite is painting like mini painting, like sculptures and stuff and models and stuff like that. But I learned that the power of contrast. And the more research I did into contrast, the crazier it got. Like there's contrast in color, contrast in interpretation, contrast in value, texture, so many things. Like for example, right now, in like the outfit I have right now, is it easy? So I just got white, blue, but the eye is drawn to this red right here. Mm-hmm. It contrasts. So
or the pocket.
Or the pocket.
Yeah, the pocket in the back is like.
So you can use what sticks out, what contrasts everything around it, to draw the eye towards it. And this applies to so many things. It doesn't have to just be art. It could be like, if you're trying to be, like, for example, one of the reasons I liked being in Japan so much was because I contrasted everyone around me. you stick out, which can be good, can be bad. In my case, it worked for me.
Right.
But the power of contrast is great. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to get into the rest of the questions. You can just continue to draw. So what makes you the most upset? Like, what really pisses you off?
Inconveniencing other people. I hate inconveniencing other people. It's something I cringe about all the time. I just think it's so disrespectful, and it's just so rude. I hate that. At the same time, I hate when people waste my time. And then the worst is when people make me be disrespectful, and then I ended up wasting my time doing all that stuff when I could be working on what I should be working on. So
True.
But yeah, because that's the worst.
Okay. So what makes you really happy? What excites you more than anything?
I have progress. Anytime I see definite steps towards being where I want to be, or getting better at a certain skill, whether it's fitness, martial arts, different artistic mediums, business, anything you're working on. If you just feel that notch move forward, or climbing the mountain, you hit a new checkpoint, that's just the best. It's so nice. There's nothing like something paying off.
That's facts. What are you afraid of?
It used to be about like losing the people you love around you and stuff like that, but now I know that I'm happy that we even had the opportunity to meet and interact and be part of each other's lives. Like, like you love your parents, you love your brothers, you love your sisters and stuff like that, and you never want anything to happen to them, but you just gotta be happy they're even on the planet in your life in the first place.
Right.
So, in terms of what am I afraid of now, besides, like animalistic, natural fears? Well, fun fact, my greatest fear is the deep ocean and sharks. I saw this episode of Captain Planet once when I was a kid, that this character was in a pool, like a swimming pool, and the villain opened up like this trap door in the pool, and a great white shark came into it.
Oh my God.
And I saw that when I was a kid, and I was like,
Nope.
That's gonna happen to me. So, and it made no sense. That's like the what's your biggest fear thing. But in terms of what I'm scared of, it's okay. One of the reasons that I didn't want to stay with my that first girlfriend is that I could have not chased after my dream, or not like taken the leap or anything like that. But I think it's so bad to say. I feel like if I get, because I'm the fourth. I want there to be a fifth and probably a sixth. So because it would be freaking cool. And because I love kids and having a family and stuff like that. Because my parents were so good to me, I wanted to do that with a kid. But if I get married and do that whole family thing without even failing to try to do what I want to do, oh my God, I am so afraid that I would resent them.
I feel that.
And that's a real thing.
Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm afraid of. So at least let me fail.
Right,
at least let me fail.
Right.
At least let me fail.
But you'll succeed though. It'll be good.
I hope so.
It'll be good. Make a face that explains you. Like if you were a facial expression, what would it be? That was so many facial expressions in itself. just made like 9 facial expressions, and you're just like, I don't know.
I don't know. I like when I think of your answer, I like to imagine it's the one that I get okay. I had it last night because my distant cousin, I got to see her perform live last night for the first time. Dionne Warwick, and then my distant cousin, the late Whitney Houston. But during the performance, when I see a good performance live, whether it's like on stage, like I remember when I saw Hamilton, and one of my favorite actors or stage performers was, I didn't know he was in the show, and all of a sudden, boom, he's right there. Or whether it's like a dance performance or something like that. But if I see something truly beautiful, like someone is putting everything on the line and they're shining, and everyone and they're sharing it with an entire audience of people, I just get this feeling where it's just it's hard to because I know this is an interview, but it comes out and it's so like cringy. My mom always, like, if I'm doing it, like I'll have my mouth open like
just like in awe.
Yeah, like, and she'll like, Neil, close your mouth, like close your mouth. Like, I'm sorry, it's just
so good.
It's so beautiful.
Aww.
So that's what I like to think of, because that's what I want to do. I see that. Oh, I saw FKA Twigs. I saw FKA Twigs in New York, and she came out. She tap danced.
Yeah.
She did kung fu.
Yep.
She sang incredible notes,
Yep.
and it sounded great the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw it, and I was like, she's doing what she wants to do. And she's being so authentic with it, and she's put so much work, and she's suffered to get where she wants to get. Mm-hmm. And she's managed to create an environment where she can be herself to the point where her being herself brings other people joy.
Yep.
I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I could do that. Like, I think that's amazing. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's just beautiful.
Yeah, she is pretty awesome. I do love her.
But yeah, that's the face I get when I see that, and that's, if I could describe a face, I think it would probably be that one.
Okay. Do you have any vices?
Oh, yeah. Everyone's got vices, but one thing that comes to me, which dips into a lot of the other ones, is just poor time management and probably, I mean, on one end, the ego is, it's what I need to be myself and, try to be a good actor and performer and touch other people with it. But at the other end, I can be pretty self-absorbed sometimes and impatient, very impatient. I'm a horrible teacher. I get impatient. I don't really drink anymore. I used to every now and then, but then I went on Accutane for skincare, which is basically Accutane, for all that don't know, is this poison that you eat every day, and it puts you through these horrible side effects, and then in about 6, 7, 8 months, all your acne's gone. And
What?
but and also it's very hard on your liver. So if you drink while you're on it, it's easy. You could die. So so after that, I don't really drink anymore. If I have like 1 or 2, I get hungover, which is.
What are the side effects of Accutane that you?
Oh, the side effects of Accutane, goddamn. Side effects of Accutane is harder if you're a woman, because if you're on Accutane and you're a woman, you need to be on like 2 forms of birth control, because it can cause like serious side effects. Like it says it on the package, like causes birth defects, yeah, it causes birth defects. But besides that, let's see. Skin dryness, like your lips will fall off. I have photos, and they are disgusting. And I like everything that's in your skin, because it goes after your oil production centers of your face. Everything that's in there will go out. So if you've ever had like a bad day of acne, where he's like, oh, maybe I can just do this or that or cover it up or something, everything that's in there will come out. So there'll be months where you'll look at yourself in the mirror. And I remember I would get up and look at myself in the mirror and I just laugh, because like I can't do anything about this. But it means it's working. But it for like, I don't know if you ever had really bad acne. Like my acne, it wasn't really that bad. But if I'm trying to be like on camera and stuff, I can't work.
Like a perfect face, yeah.
I don't need like a perfect face, but I can't work knowing that, like, if you've ever had bad acne, the worst is like, okay, if this is somebody's eyes, they're talking to you, you can feel them go like that, and then it's like, oh God.
It's like you're looking.
It's like, I'm right here, like, talk to me, or something like that. But if you've ever had really bad acne, it's like you can't look people in the eye. It messes with your head, messes with your morale.
Is that why you're not looking at the camera?
Oh no. But no, it messes with your head when you have something that just doesn't necessarily need to be acne, but something that is up, that you can't control, or you've tried to control it and you can't do it. In my case, it was acne. But in terms of the side effects, let's see: skin dryness, mood swings, joint pain. Yeah, joint pain. It's like there's unknown ones too, like night blindness. What? Like if you're driving at night, it's like if you're driving at night, be careful, because sometimes your vision will get foggy. It's like what? Okay. Fatigue. The worst one was fatigue. I don't know if you've ever been sick and had like medical level like fatigue. It's not just like I'm tired, it's like I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm dying. But fortunately, some people, it doesn't even work and they need to do it again. But they show it's like a last resort thing, because I went through all the natural methods, oil cleanses, dietary stuff. Oh, I got stuff in my hands. Dietary stuff, antibiotics, different topicals. Eventually, and this is like the last resort, and fortunately it worked for me. And I would say, considering what I'm trying to do in my career, that it was worth it. But if I didn't, like, my dad and my aunt, when I was going through it, they were like, oh yeah, the same thing happened to me when I was like this age. And I was like, why didn't you guys warn me? Because apparently it's genetic.
Right.
But if I wasn't trying to do what I was trying to do, I would just, it's just some acne, I'll get through it eventually.
Right.
But yeah. And
that's intense.
But back to your original question of vices, it was probably an inflated ego, impatience, trying to do too many things at once, which causes me to try to compensate with everything I'm doing with ways to relieve my stress and anxiety and stuff, when really I could just focus down on what I need to do, focus down on a few different topics, sleep better, not get as much stress, and not have to deal with it in many different, probably unhealthy ways.
True.
And building teammates, finding people you trust and can bear the weight of things with you. Something I'm always working on doing.
Yeah. Okay. What is the hardest conversation you've ever had?
Hardest conversation I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. One that comes to mind. Well, I mean, there's obviously the one with the with that big X where we did our first breakup or whatever, and that was hard. Let me think. Hardest conversation I ever had. Well, I remember a very stressful conversation. So when I was over in Tokyo, I lived there for about 8 months. I had my apartment. And I had my tourist visa because I was trying to get in. So when you're in Japan and you're a foreigner, you're a gaijin, which means foreigner. And I went to language school out there. I learned how to do monologues in Japanese. And I was trying to I got the opportunity through different connections to try to audition for this agency that worked with gaijin, this worked with foreigners. And I went to the agency. I did my very best. I did two monologues, probably 3 over the course of the times I was doing it, like a video one. And then I did like a martial arts demonstration. I did a musical number. And I introduced myself and the whole thing in as much Japanese as possible. And there was the acting agent, or I guess she worked in casting as well. This was the casting agency that worked with like The Last Samurai and stuff like that. So the casting agent, and then there was 2 modeling agents. And I went in there. I did my very best, and it was probably as well as it could have gone. But I just remember that they had the acting agent and then the 2 modeling agents. One of the modeling agents just told me to like stand up, so I did. I stood up, and then they just wanted me to like turn around, stuff like that. And they just weren't impressed. They just weren't impressed, which is fair, I suppose. Because if I did get the job, hopefully they would have given me a working visa, then I could stay in the country. But ultimately, they decided not to bring me on. Which sucked.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, but after that, I realized, I think when something like that happens to you, you think about it like a lot. A lot. So I went back and I broke it down into what I needed to do. And I lost like 40 pounds because
oh my God, how small were you? How much did you weigh? You're not even, that's crazy.
You gotta do what's required. You gotta do what's required.
Somebody that like bone skinny.
They have it. Well, over in Japan, they actually have a different point of view in terms of all that stuff. Like, but I was eating too much ramen. They have really good beer out there, man. Like my favorite beers are Japanese beers. My favorite whiskey is Japanese whiskey. Which a lot of the stuff I can't even get out here, but I just needed to. They just weren't impressed. I wasn't like super skinny, or I was a bit bigger at the time too, but they just needed something that they could mold and steer in any direction they wanted to do. Whether they wanted me to like bulk up or lean down or various stuff, and I was just not. I wasn't looking right. I wasn't looking right. So it was really painful and hurt, but I think it forced me in the right direction. Hopefully, we'll see. It's the direction I went in, and that was anxious.
Okay. What don't you want to tell people, but you should share because it could help someone else? So it's something you don't talk about like that makes you feel weird, but if someone else brought it up to you, you'd be like, oh, this is dope. Let's talk about this. And you know there's probably someone out there that's like, I wish someone would bring this up because I feel this way too.
It's hard to give advice on this because I could very much be wrong. Because I'm still trying to figure it all out. But in terms of like love and relationships and dating and all that stuff, I can only speak from my point of view as a man. But a lot of times you can get frustrated with stuff. You can get a lot of the times you can get frustrated trying to find the right person or trying to figure out who's right for you or whether you're right for them. Basically, if I could give a form of advice, and when I'm talking to like my, he's like a little brother to me when we talk about it. He was in the idealistic frame of mind for like love and relationships, like, oh, this is the one for me, all that stuff. Like she's the only person I want, all that stuff. And when you've been, it's very easy when you get older to get jaded and then come at it from that jaded point of view and start getting into the psychology of all that stuff. And while there is a lot of, it holds a lot of water in that, there's a lot of stuff that can be learned and a lot of truths to it. But if I could give a form of advice, is that I would try to just be naive as long as you can before you get jaded. Because I think there's a beautiful, even when it goes poorly and you get your heart broken and it's the worst. Like when I got my heart broken, it was the worst pain imaginable. But I'm in a way, like, it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Because like the only way you could feel that horrible pain is if you really, really love that person or really, really, really loved it. And if you jump into it from that jaded point of view right away, you don't get to experience that. And I think it's horrible, but it was also beautiful and wonderful. So I think it's something that every human should get the opportunity to experience at some point. Yeah. So listen to romantic songs. Listen to that lovey-dovey stuff and give it a shot, because
Believe the movie.
at least yes, yeah. See for yourself. See for yourself. See it for yourself. I only usually give that talk about that when I'm giving advice to people who are dealing with it, because it's very easy to get into like dating tactics and mentalities and all that stuff. But if you're just sometimes you gotta just make a few mistakes.
Word.
You know? Yeah.
Okay. What do you feel will restore connection in our generation? What do you think we can do?
Respect. Respect for yourself. Respect for those who came before you. Respect for those around you. Respect for those who come after you. It all comes down, in my opinion, to respect. And to an extent, compassion. But you can't be too compassionate, because then you risk disrespecting yourself for other people. It's a balance that I don't necessarily struggle with too much, but I have to deal with, and you will find your own balance at some point, depending on wherever you are, whoever you are, the context around you. But show respect, but show respect to those around you and to yourself.
What are you self-conscious about?
I'm not where I want to be yet. I haven't gotten the roles that I wanted. I do a lot of studying people I admire, like John Boyega. He plays Finn in the new Star Wars series, the Black Stormtrooper. He's my role model, even though we're almost close to the same age. So whenever people give me praise, like, "Oh, you're doing so well," like I know I'm not where I want to be yet. So that's something I think about a lot, and it keeps me going, even though it's probably not the best thing to think about. Status and where I am, impatience, self-consciousness. Like, I mean, I'm going through Accutane, obviously, skincare and like looks and stuff. Like, come on, like we gotta look good on camera, you know, and all that stuff. You know, people gotta pay for tickets. You gotta look presentable.
Yeah.
And in a way, that is where it goes back to respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the production, respect for the people who are investing in you and believing in you to be part of a film, and respect for the others on the cast. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're bringing them down.
True.
Respect for your ancestors. One thing that I would love is if, regardless of what happens and the next journey after all of this life stuff, if I can see them again, or if they're looking down right now, I want to make them proud,
Yeah.
Because so many of them came before me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would like to at least make it down. Yeah, but also with that consciousness of where I am in my journey and all this career stuff is impatience, jealousy. Yeah, I get jealous, and it just, I don't know if the right word is jealousy or envy, but I just, it's not that I want to take it away from them or whatever they have. It's just that I wish that I could rise to where I want to be quicker. It just makes me get hungrier and stressed out and anxious about it. But that's something that I'm pretty self-conscious about. But
Okay.
I think it's kind of good
Yeah.
too. But yeah. This is Theo. This is Theo IV in the flesh.